Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. I'm Brian, Mr. Smith Kitchen, and today I thought we'd bake a key lime pie. Now, I think I said last week that we were going to do a pecan pie, and we still will. That might actually be next week's video. Why I've been so into pies lately, I have no idea, but how amazing are pies. Most pies are quick, easy, simple, straightforward. And they're fun to make. I mean, I have had an absolute blast making all these pies lately. Not that I don't have a couple cake recipes. I've got an easy like 3 or 4 months worth of baking recipes for us to try. One of them being a 3-layer cake that's a 2 layers of blueberry cake with a blueberry cheesecake in the middle, much like the pineapple upside down cheesecake we made a few weeks back. That it looks absolutely amazing. I found it on Facebook. I don't remember the name of the person who had it. I want to say it's the chocolate lover, but I shared it on the Facebook group, Mr. Smith's Kitchen's group, and it just looks really good. So I got to run with it. One of Abby's teachers, I do believe, actually shared it to me, and then I shared it with the group. But anyhow, today we're talking key lime pie. By the way, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found me. I hope you get something out of this channel. We at the moment are predominantly cooking and baking, but we try to do all things food. We're going to start gardening here in another week or so. We don't really plan anything until mid-May, because here in Ohio, at least this part of Ohio, frost is prevalent all the way up to Mother's Day, pretty much, which happens to be this Sunday. So for every year annually, we usually plant flowers, gardens, all that stuff for Chris's birthday. And her birthday's just right around the corner. It's May 13th if you want to get her anything. If you're returning to my channel, thank you. I'm glad you came back. I never take your guys' time for granted. If you would be so kind, hit the subscribe button. There's a notification bell right next to that. It's down. They're both down here somewhere. Square box, so subscribe, bell right next to it. That way you know when my videos come out. Thumbs up, thumbs down, always appreciated. They don't. In my mind, it doesn't matter to me if you hit them or not. I like when you hit them. I mean, it tells me if I'm doing good or not. But it also gets us out to more people. And that way they can, come and hopefully join our community, which would be awesome. Comments, love them, appreciate them, good or bad. It's okay to tell me that my videos are junk or that you think they're awesome. Either way, just be polite. Our group, our neighborhood is very diversified, age groups, ethnicities, so think before you type. All right, so key lime pie. Key lime pie is really cool. I did some research on key lime pies. They're kind of all the same. I only saw one that was a huge variant that didn't involve sweetened condensed milk. But they go back as far as the 30s. And they were started in the Florida Keys and with a key lime, which is a really small lime. Unfortunately, in Ohio, you can only get them at certain times of the year. You can also use a regular lime. If you can't find key limes, you can use regular limes. They recommend, almost everybody recommends fresh squeezed if possible, but they do sell a key lime juice, like lemon juice and lime juice, only it's a key lime juice from key limes from the Keys in Florida. So today I'm using, I switched this recipe up. Like I said, all the recipes seem to be basically the same, but I kind of created my own based on 6 other recipes. And like I said, there were some wide swings in a couple of the recipes, but for the most part, it was all the same. So let me get you down here to the counter and we will see what we need to make this with, and we will start making a key lime pie. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, so here we are down at the counter, and we're talking about some things that you may use or you may not use. It doesn't actually require any fancy equipment. But today I am going to use a food processor. We're going to make a graham cracker crust for this key lime pie. And graham cracker crusts are by far the easiest crust to make, hands down. They don't take a whole lot of anything. 3 simple ingredients is all. This whole pie only takes a total of, crust included, 8 ingredients. It's not much. If you don't have a food processor, because we got to crush up our graham crackers, we got to make them into almost a powder. You can always just use a freezer bag, a large freezer bag in your rolling pin, a hammer, whatever you got available, somebody's head if you're angry, whatever it takes, to crush them up with. You can actually do it all in your freezer bag as far as the crust goes. And of course, we will need a recipe. And as always, recipes in the notebook. And you can, it's really easy to follow. I'm going to give you these in your measurements in cups and in grams both. All right. And then when I have them, like melted butter, I could figure it out, but I didn't, so I apologize. And then I'll give it to you in grams, because grams is that more accurate. Another thing I recommend having always when baking is a scale. And yeah, that's it. A good recipe, or even a bad recipe that you can modify, make your own, or a tried and true recipe, either one. So anyhow, to get started, food processor. We're going to need 12 whole graham crackers, all right? And those 12 whole graham crackers are going to make a cup and a half, or 186 grams of graham cracker. All right, and we're going to take those, and we're just going to break them up, put them in the food processor. And like I said, if you don't have a food processor, freezer bag and a rolling pin or a hammer or whatever you have that you like to whack things with in the kitchen is what you'll use. Now that we get our graham crackers in there, we'll go ahead and get the lid on, and we're just going to run this for maybe 10-15 seconds. We're going to get these down to crumbs. All right, we got those down to crumbs. And I'll show you what I mean by crumbs here real quick. Just like that, just crumbs. You know, not a powder, but, you know, not whole pieces of graham cracker anymore. And it's okay at this point if you have a couple pieces of graham cracker left in there. It's not going to hurt anything because we're going to keep pulsing, so they will break down. Next thing we're going to add to this is 3 tablespoons or 45 grams of just regular sugar, you know, kind you'd buy sitting in the aisle on a pallet. At least at all my grocery stores, that seems to be that way. And then we'll put that in, and we'll just pulse that a couple times to get it mixed up in there. Last thing we need is 6 tablespoons of butter melted. All right, and you don't want it to be blazing hot. Before you go put it in, melt it. Let it cool a little bit, you know, close to room temperature. I mean, you don't want it to sit so long it solidifies back into butter, but you'll want that to be. And we're just going to turn this on low. The whole point of the butter is just to coat all the graham crackers. We don't want it sopping wet. All right, we got the butter in there. And now we're going to check it. So to check your crust to ensure it has enough butter, because if it doesn't have enough butter, if it's not completely coated, you know, it won't hold together. And what I mean by hold together is I should be able to put it in my hand, all right, and see how it held? That's perfect. You know, I mean, I could maybe use just a tad bit more butter, but I don't think I do. Because you don't want it to be loose. You want it to hold together just like that. If you can see that. Looks like I'm a mile away. But what happens is that butter, between the butter and the sugar, when we put this in the oven, that's what's going to hold it together. So if you have dry spots in your graham crackers, you don't have enough butter, the crust won't hold together when you go to cut it and serve it. The crust will literally fall apart. So you'll know eventually if you didn't have enough. But that's all we need for that. So the next thing we need is a 9-inch pie pan. And I'm just using a regular old Pyrex pie pan that I bought at the thrift store a long while back. I absolutely love the thrift store. You know, it's one of the greatest places in the world to shop. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. And we're just going to dump our pie crust, our graham cracker mix in the pie pan like such. Just like that. And then we're going to press it down in. All right, we're going to move it up the sides. We want this to be all the way up the sides. One thing we can use, you can use your hands, but I am going to use a measuring cup. A 1 cup measuring cup. And you want to make sure you get this in tight. Yeah, you want to pack it down very firm. If you don't, it won't hold. So you want to put some might and effort into it. All right, we got our pie crust formed. And we went and smashed her down and got her together. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees. All right, we're going to let this bake for about 10 minutes or until it starts to brown a little. Yeah, you'll see the difference. It'll start to turn dark. And what that do by baking that, we're setting this. You know, that way the sugar's melted, you know, and the butter's gotten into all the nooks and crannies. And then after it's done, we will pull it out of the oven and start making our pie filling. All right, I'll see you here in just one moment. All right, so let's go ahead and get our crust out of the oven. Ooh. And I'll show you what I mean by darker. I hope you can see it through there. To see how that got darker in color? And then all we gotta do is just set it on the rack and let it start to cool. Now, don't turn your oven off. So, because we're gonna need it again here in just a few. You don't have to let that completely cool, but you wanted to let it cool while we're putting together the ingredients for the filling. So let's go ahead and make the filling. So first thing you're gonna need is 4 large egg yolks. All right. Some recipes called for 3, some called for 4. I opted for 4. Put those in a bowl. All right. So you will need a bowl and a hand mixer. I mean, you could actually even just use a whisk for this, but I'm using a hand mixer, and we're gonna just smooth these out. You know, turn them into like we're scrambling eggs. All right, that took all of 30 seconds. You want your eggs at room temperature, by the way, in case I forgot to tell you. Next thing we're gonna add is 1 14-ounce can of condensed milk. Use whatever condensed milk you like, whatever you can, you know, come across. But we're gonna put that in. All right, we got our condensed milk in there. So now we're gonna mix that up real quick. It'll take 2 seconds. All right, we got that good and blended up, mixed up real nice. Next thing we're gonna add is a 1/2 cup of lime juice. Now, if you have the ability to do fresh lime juice, great. If you don't, bottled lime juice is okay. There'll be some people out there that'll tell you not to use it, but if that's all you've got and you really want a key lime pie, use it. Now, that being said, get key lime juice. They sell it at almost every grocery store. If they sell it in my town, they probably sell it everywhere. If you don't, then it won't truly be a key lime pie. It'll just be a lime pie, which is okay too. That's kind of how they started. But get the key lime juice. It's about the same price as far as prices goes, but you're going to need a 1/2 cup or 140 milliliters, 140 grams. All right, we're going to put that in, and we're also going to add a dash of vanilla. You'll have to forgive Sam. She's out there barking at the other dogs in the neighborhood. And we're just going to give this a good mix together. And then the last ingredient is just 2 tablespoons of lime zest. All right, and all that is just the skin of the lime on the outside. You want to take off just the greenish yellow part. Don't get into the white. The white is very bitter. All right, and we're just going to add this in and give that a quick mix, and then we'll be done. Well, actually, you know what? We're not going to mix it. I lied. I didn't lie. I just wasn't thinking. I don't have the ingredients list, the recipe in front of me. but we want to fold this in. Because if you don't, what can happen is the lime can end up more on your beaters of your mixer than in your key lime pie. And I'm here to tell you what, this smells absolutely amazing. It does. It already smells like a great lime pie. So we got that all mixed up. We're good there. Fold it in, looking beautiful. All right, there is that. Oh, that batter tastes phenomenal. There is really something about key lime pie that just screams summertime freshness. It's probably the citrus in it, but we'll go ahead and get some things adjusted around here. So we have to bake this and make sure it's set because it has eggs in it. And with the eggs, you want to make sure that they get cooked enough that they set, which will kill any salmonella that could be in the eggs. Remember, raw eggs are bad. So you want to, I've never actually heard of anybody dying from a raw egg, but they do contain salmonella. And that can make you very sick. It can also kill you. So we want to bake this and make sure it's set. And I'll show you what I mean by set, because it's not quite like when you, make a regular pie or cake and, you put a toothpick in it and it's clean, or things like that. There is a temperature for it. And I do want to say offhand it's 165 degrees, and that could be completely wrong. I will put it on this video, though, before I put the video out, so to speak. All right, so we got that in there, and this pie pan is still kind of warm, so but we want to make sure this is in here and in here even. I mean, it's that quick. The hardest part about this was kind of yet to come, and that's just the practice and patience, so to speak. And if you're going to use your fingers to scrape with, make sure your hands are clean. That's an important one. Wow, that just tastes so good. All right, so we're going to get this back in the oven. That's why I told you not to turn it off, because it really is just that quick. And let me get my gloves on here right quick. And if you're wondering why I have mismatched gloves, it's the one pot holder is old as dirt, and I just can't bear to part with it. And believe it or not, we had a hard time finding two UGG gloves, but I'm working on it. All right, so what are we doing next? All right, because we're almost done with like all the hard stuff, so to speak, other than the practice and patience. We're gonna set our timer for. I'm going to set mine for 15 minutes, just because I know it seems like everything else I've ever made in this oven takes the higher end, but I'm going to check it at 10 minutes. You want to go about 10-15 minutes on this, and you'll know that it's ready, it's set. It doesn't take long if you grab it, and just jiggle it slightly, okay? You just want to jiggle it, move it slightly. It should not move at all. It should be nice and firm. Some recipes will tell you that it's like a cheesecake and it should be firm on the outside, and as it comes in, it should have a little bit of wiggle. But the professionals that I watch said that it should be pretty well set. So I'm going to run with that piece of advice and let this bake for 15 minutes, and I'll check it at 10 minutes, and we'll see where we're at from there. All right, so when I come back, we'll talk about what to do next. All right, see you in a second. Okay, so we baked our key lime pie. It is set, and I'll show you what I mean by set. Just pulled it out of the oven. It's still like blazing hot, so I don't know exactly why I just took my mitts off, but I did. So let me put those back on here real quick. Yes, this isn't a pot holder, it's an oven mitt. And it's a very old oven mitt, been around for a long minute, like probably almost as long as me. But if you look, see how if I give it a shake, it doesn't move? That's what we're looking for. Yeah. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to leave it sit on that rack till it gets down to room temperature. This is where it's like a cheesecake. But it's because it's a custard. It has, or what I learned yesterday is considered a translucent pie, which I guess is a lot of cream pies. Like Chris has a blood orange pie that is to die for, and I think we should make one of these days. But they require the egg to be cooked. Obviously, you don't want raw eggs. That's how we know the egg is cooked and set. It is basically a really, really, really fancy version of a scrambled egg or an omelet. So we gotta let this cool down to room temperature, and then we have to stick it in the fridge overnight. All right, or you could go a minimum of 6 hours in the fridge, but overnight is best practice. So that's what we're gonna do. So when you see me next, which will be here in like 10 seconds, or 2 seconds, it'll be the next day for me. And we'll cut into this and see how it worked out. All right, I'll see you here in just a brief minute. All right, guys, so we let the key lime pie set overnight and do its thing. We are right there, ready to go, looking good. So now all we got to do is take some whipped topping and put it on there. Now, I mean, you have a choice here. You can do sorry, I'm trying to get you down there one-handed. There we go. You can do this one-handed, or you can, or do this one-handed. You can top this with either a meringue, if you want to make a meringue, or whipped topping. And I know you're thinking to yourself, wow, that's a huge gap between the top of the pie and the edge of the pie crust, and that's because I want the topping to be even with the pie crust. So I'm just putting some little florets on there, and then when it's cut, once we get it covered with these, with our whipped topping, you don't have to use florets. I mean, you can just make whipped topping and throw it on here. It'll be even with the pie crust at any rate, but we'll be able to give this a try. All right, we'll be back in just 1 second, and we'll cut us a slice and take a taste. All right, so we got her covered, just like such. And like I said, you can make a meringue, which is it's very similar to making a whipped topping. It's just with eggs and powdered sugar versus heavy cream and regular sugar. And put that on there, and then put it back in the oven so it firms up, and then you take a torch and brown the tips. It's a little more work, I think, but I also just like the whipped topping. That's just me. So now all we got left to do is cut a piece and see how it turned out. Let me go get a plate real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the plate, got a knife. I know most YouTubers would probably be more prepared. Now, the main thing I'm looking at here is how did this crust turn out? Because I need to know, do I need to add a little more butter to it or not? I know just from fussing with it when I pulled it out of the fridge that it is dry along the top here a little bit. I mean, I can see it because it's falling apart. But how did the rest of it turn out? This will give me a determination of, do I need to put a little more butter in it when I make it? Graham cracker crust can be, for as simple as it is to make, it can be a little finicky due to the fact that, how old are your graham crackers? How dry are they? Things of that nature. And to look at it, the only thing that fell off of it was just this very edge. So I'm probably, next time I make this, going to add a tablespoon, or maybe a tablespoon more, maybe a half a tablespoon more butter to it. But I mean, it turned out nice and solid. We're in good shape. Yeah, but like I said, that edge right in here that was exposed the most to the heat when we baked it off came out a little dry. And there is our piece right there. Yeah, see, once again, a little dry. But all in all, I'm happy with the way it looks. Yeah, I'll take it. Like I said, I'm no professional. You know, I just play one on TV. Or YouTube, as the case may be. So, per tradition, I thought we would go ahead and let me eat in front of you. Just because it's what I do. I don't know why we do that. Because I can always tell you it's good even if it's not. But I wouldn't do that. But we'll give it a shot. Yeah, see how that crust just stayed on there? Nice and solid. That's good. That means we were pretty much about there. Maybe I need to do a little more mixing, but I'm going to add a half a tablespoon of butter to the next round. But let's try it and see if it tastes like key lime pie. That is really, really good. Hands down. Really, really good. It's got so much lime flavor to it that I need to have another piece. That is so creamy. Unbelievable. Unbelievably creamy. The lime is perfect. It is definitely there, which is what you want in a key lime pie. Yeah, that recipe is definitely pretty amazing. So now that I know that recipe works, I can feel good about giving one of these pies to a friend. And hands down, oh yeah. I mean, that's just, wow. Well worth it. And it's an easy pie. Easy, hands down. That cream is just, it's so creamy. You know, and the graham cracker crust goes so well with the lime flavor. That is just hands down an award-winning combination. All right, so that being said, try this recipe. You know, let me know what you think. It's easy. It takes no time at all. You know, while you're baking off the crust, you can be making the filling, bring it all together, stick it in the oven for 10-15 minutes, let it cool, chill overnight, boom, done. Taking it to a party, making all kinds of friends, and you got like 25 minutes into it. So, yeah, no, try this. Great starter pie for like a cream pie, or what they call a translucent pie. And let me know what you think. All right, let me know if you try it. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you don't like it. Let me know if you like lemon or key lime pies. Let me know if you don't. So, until next week, when I have no idea what we're cooking for dinner, I have no idea what we're baking. It seems to constantly change. I'm really going to try hard to get this pecan pie knocked out, and that's probably going to happen. I actually have an order for a pecan pie, so there's a good possibility that's going to work. And but we'll see. You never know. All right, I love you. I love you very much. I mean that. I do mean that. You guys are the world to me. The fact you tune in and watch me goof off and make pies and cakes and dinners means the world to me. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. Make them this key lime pie. I guarantee, A, they'll think you bought it from a store and it's better than any store-bought pie. But they'll be like, oh, I can't believe you made this. This is amazing. All of a sudden you're having conversation out on your back deck in the sunshine eating key lime pie. It'll be great. All right? I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.